and welcome. You're watching FII. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Today on the program, we will be talking all about vaccination. The myths surrounding it, the misinformation surrounding it as well. But to give you a context on vaccination in the country, at the moment, the story of vaccination in India is a very fascinating, some would say even disturbing, paradox. On one hand, we have vaccine shortage. On the other, vaccine hesitancy. On one hand, there is a story of urban India. On the other, the story of rural India. We know the reality very well of what's happening in urban India. People are running from pillar to post to try and just get one jab somehow. People are spending days, hours, if not weeks on the CoWIN portal trying to get an appointment. Cut to the reality in the rural part of the country where people are attacking the medical staff who reaches their villages to try and educate them on the issue of vaccination. They are hiding in their homes, not coming out because of the fear of vaccination. And then there are also those who fear because of some WhatsApp forwards telling them so that they will die if they take this vaccination. So today on the program, we are going to cut the clutter, sort of debunk all the myths surrounding vaccination for you. Let's get into explainer. Well, the story of vaccination in rural India is the one that is filled with myths. Myths and misinformation around vaccination on your WhatsApp, on social media forwards as well. We've picked out for you the top 10 myths, and we will get a response to that from medical experts on the program so that you don't believe me, you don't believe your WhatsApp forward or anything that people are saying, but only the sound advice of your doctor. Let's begin with myth number 1 that is circulating all the way on social media. This one says that if you take a COVID vaccine, it will first cause fever and then it can lead to possible death as well. Basically saying that the vaccine will cause death, not the virus. Myth number 2, again about side effects, saying that it will not show up right now, but in 2 to 3 years, you will start seeing things happen to your body which will be out of your control. So don't get vaccinated because there will be a long-term impact. Myth number 3, this is a really strange one, which says COVID vaccines can cause autism in your offsprings, suggesting that people who take the COVID vaccine, their offsprings will end up having some sort of dysfunctional sort of body parts in a way, or could have other sort of issues with them as well. Myth number 4, vaccines, and this is a very popular one, an absolute lie really, which one says that vaccine can contribute to infertility. This is the major fear in rural India. Myth number 5 says that vaccine can impact your menstrual cycle and cause miscarriages as well. So men and women are getting scared in rural India of taking the vaccine because they feel it will impact their reproductive system. Myth number 6. Again, this is something that people in rural India believe when they say they work in the farms, they have great immunity, and as long as they're taking care of themselves, vaccines, their immunity cannot match them. They feel they don't need the vaccine at all. They dismiss the idea of taking a vaccine. Myth number 7. And this is a conspiracy theory really, which is extremely false to start with, but this is what is circulating on various WhatsApp groups, on websites as well, saying that the vaccine is actually a poisonous injection and this is being given to people to try and impact them in some way. There is another one. Again, misinformation but popular. This one says that COVID vaccine is a ploy by the government to control population. This is again heard a number of times in rural India in conversations that happen over there. Myth number 9, this one, extremely bizarre, says that the COVID vaccine has some inbuilt microchips that help the United States government to track citizens. Now, God knows where is science in all of this, but we'll return to this as well. And then finally, there is this extremely popular one which says that the COVID vaccine is a ploy by China to alter and manipulate the human race. Now, I don't know your reaction to all of these, but any right-thinking person would know that these are all false. But again, this is a belief for many in rural India. And not just a belief on social media platforms, something which is actually seen in numbers as well. And let's bring you those numbers now. The worrying trend of vaccination seen in urban India versus rural India. We'll begin with Bihar. About 60% of Bihar is currently, as we speak, vaccinated, first or second dose. That's a tabulated figure that we are bringing you at the moment. Versus 5% only of the rural population in Bihar. Madhya Pradesh, their urban districts like Indore, Bhopal, Gwalior range between 25 to 27% of vaccination. But guess what? The rural districts are throwing in terms of percentages. Just 8, 10, maximum is 11 over there. Look at Maharashtra next. Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, all going up to almost 48% at one point. And remember, these are the places where people are queuing up and they're not just finding a vaccine for themselves. Cut to the reality of rural districts in the same state, where 17%, 18% is the vaccination figure so far. Punjab, where most of these places we've seen very poor vaccination, 9%, 4%. Even 7% in some areas. Bengal, for example, again, 14 rural districts in Bengal where the maximum vaccination has been in one of those areas is actually 15.35% over there. Rajasthan, well, another story where lots of rural ground is not covered with vaccination. Just about 12, 16, 17, 18% over there. So really, the bottom line here is that there is a great mismatch and a paradox in the vaccination story in the country. Rural versus urban. And if India wants to defeat this virus in this fight that is going on right now, there are only 3 words for it. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. And till the time it does not reach our rural population, we will not be able to win this battle. Having understood that, let's try and decode this in a bit of more detail. And joining us on the program today are doctors from the rural part of the country or doctors who are joining to us from smaller towns to try and tell us what is it that they encounter when they meet with patients, what is it that they are hearing from patients when they try and educate them on the issue of vaccination. Let me introduce my guest now. Joining us on the program is Dr. Anurag Mehrotra. He joins us from UP. Also, Dr. Tiwari. He joins us from AIIMS in Patna. Dr. Patil joins us from Maharashtra. And we have Dr. Dhameja joining us from the national capital. Let me first get a UP perspective over here, because there as well the paradox is very, very clear. Dr. Anurag Mehrotra, first to you, just sort of decode for us how, or make us understand how difficult has it been to actually convince people to come and take the jab in rural parts of the country?
This has got 2 parts. Initially, when the first phase of vaccination, before the onset of second wave of this COVID, there was vaccination hesitancy in all parts, be it city or be it rural areas. But after the onset of the second wave, everyone is realizing vaccine is very necessary. So the perception has changed. But what you are saying is in rural area, it still holds true. Many of the people are not going to vaccinate themselves. There are certain reasons behind this. First of all is a lack of literacy. Second is lack of trust. Third is lack of mobilization. People, many of the part, these 3 factors combined with our what we call as a social hierarchy and our just different type of religious mix, they all create a very bad cocktail for the vaccination. We have seen in the past.
Can I just ask you this? is there hesitancy for all sort of vaccination, or is it specific to COVID?
I am coming to that only. We have seen with the pulse polio or polio vaccination that vaccination is basically, we should approach vaccination through different stakeholders. It is not only doctors or administration which is responsible for this. Until and unless different social groups doesn't participate in this, there will be problem in doing the vaccination in a large scale. Reason being, many of the social groups don't believe in government. Many of the social groups don't believe each other. Frankly, I'm giving example of Muslims. They will heed to the dictates of a Maulvi, but they will not heed to the dictate of even their Pradhan. We have seen when their call for vaccination in Mohammedan Muslim villages is given from masjid, so the rate is higher.
Well,
So
I'm not sure
we
if this
have
is a
to understand the
religion-specific
sensitivities also.
hesitancy. I'm not quite sure if this is a religion-specific hesitancy. What I
No,
do
it's
know is in a
only
lot
one
of tribal
example.
areas, the story is the same. People are running away. We've got stories from Maharashtra, for example, where people actually beat up a medical team who went there to try and educate them over the issue. And talking about Maharashtra, let me get a perspective over there. Dr. Patil, if you could come in on at this point, we know that Maharashtra is one of the worst hit states with COVID-19, and in fact this is one state where we've seen rural and urban both getting equally impacted. And to take away from Dr. Mehrotra was saying that people understood the value of vaccine after the second wave mostly, when they actually lost a lot of their loved ones, and nothing, no amount of money, no amount of influence, no amount of jugaad could save them. And that's when they realized that if you want to protect yourself, stay indoors, get yourself vaccinated, right? Before that, the communication was somehow still facing roadblocks. This reality is pretty much the same when it comes to rural India, but why is that message not coming across?
Yeah, I'll share a very interesting study done by our NGO. We run an NGO called the Seva Sadan NGO, which we actually done in 1,500 people. At the time of this study, only 85% people were not vaccinated. Almost only 15% people were vaccinated in this at the time of this survey. And most important, they refused vaccine because they thought, that is 25% of them thought that death is the important cause for death. And 40% of them thought that the vaccine is not at all useful. It is just a gimmick, or it is just, as you said, those things. And most important is there is also gender bias in this. That females are more suspicious about the vaccine than the male. This is what the survey said. And 23% of them, even in a rural India, 23% of them believed in a WhatsApp messages or the Facebook messages. And what was those messages is that it can cause a menopause, it can cause a problem with the menstrual cycle, it can cause impotency, and most importantly, one of our panelists mentioned that there is a lack of a trust on a health workers, and also is a very important cause, that they don't believe that whatever government workers are telling is a true story. So basically the most important problem in rural India is overall vaccine literacy. We need to know, we need to understand, or we need to make people literate about the vaccine by various means. The way we made them literate for the COVID, in a similar way we need to make them literate about the vaccine, which I call as a vaccine literacy.
Right.
And then
so very
more
interesting
important
takeaways, Dr. Patil, from what you're saying right now. You're saying about 25% of the people in the survey that you did were scared that it could lead to death. 40% of them had questions regarding the effectiveness of the vaccine as well. So this is perhaps penetrating from the fact that we've seen deaths happen. It's been an odd case. It's been a 1 in 1,000 case really of people actually losing their life despite the vaccine, and those stories seem to be spreading out, and it's the wrong messaging really that is not giving them enough trust. That's the word I keep hearing from what Dr. Mehrotra is saying, from what you are saying as well, that these are the people who do not feel that the vaccines will work. Key takeaways from what you're saying as well. Let me bring in Dr. Tiwari then at this point. Dr. Tiwari, can you, lots of WhatsApp messages are floating, and I know people in UP, in Bihar trust WhatsApp over and above everything else right now. In fact, why should I just limit it to UP and Bihar? It's all over the country right now. If you had to make a viral message and you had to tell these people that this is just a myth. The reality is that vaccine is the only way forward. Vaccine is the only thing that will save us all from this virus. What would your answer be?
That's very important, and it's true that lack of information is the problem why people are not getting themselves vaccinated. So giving right information, viral messages, which is responsibility of each of us, whether we are in government sector or as NGOs or as village heads.
Yeah, nobody is disputing that, but how do we bring that change?
Yeah, so for that, basically just viral message will not work. People believe in people. So if we involve village heads, if we involve local people, if we train them, if we make them believe that yes, this is working, if they see the danger of disease and then they see the benefit of the vaccine, then only people believe. I'm telling about my institute. In the beginning, when we started vaccination drive, only 25 to 30% people turned up, that is healthcare workers. And when second wave started and people saw that this disease is so risky, it's killing like anything, then everybody poured in to get vaccinated. So it is information, it is reality that they need to understand, and once they understand,
you are
then
saying
only
it's information. I believe it's actually misinformation which is causing this problem. It is these misinformation led WhatsApp forwards that are really making people, and let me just say this, it is not just for COVID vaccine, right? It's for anything that's injected in. It's the lack in the medical infrastructure on the whole as well. How do you tackle that in a place like Bihar?
It is not just this vaccine. Even for previous vaccination drives, there was significant resistance. And unless people see the benefit of these vaccines, unless we involve them in this vaccination drive, till then people will not, they just do not believe in only information. They need to see the benefit. So we need to involve them. And we need to make them realize the risk of disease and the benefits of the vaccine. So
okay, involve them and they want to see. But can I take a leaf from that and go to Dr. Dhameja next? Dr. Dhameja, people have seen the Prime Minister take the vaccine. They have seen Dr. Guleria take the vaccine. They've seen top chief ministers, cabinet ministers all take the vaccine. This is supposed to be a confidence building measure. Is that not working then?
Thank you, Sonal, for having me on your show. Let me bring this into context. The vaccine hesitancy, how do we define it? It's not only a phenomena seen in India or in rural areas. This is seen all over the world. So vaccine hesitancy is delay in accepting or refusal to accept the vaccine in spite of it being available, affordable and accessible. So it's seen over the world, and for last 30 years we have been seeing it, and WHO has given it as one of the top 10 public health problems of this century. So apart from air pollution, vaccine hesitancy is one of the top 10 public health problems, and it is seen all over the world. Being a neurologist, I can tell you very, very specific example of one disease called Dravet syndrome, which was basically it's seen in kids, and it was supposed to be publicized as the effect of the vaccination, but it was later found on that this problem was due to a familial or a genetic problem, and it was shown to the whole world. It's nothing to do with the vaccine. So we need to bring out science and science and science only. It's not only the vaccine hesitancy, even the accessibility is also a cause of vaccine hesitancy. Apart from that, you know, the rural and urban divide in India. The 66% of the population lives in India, in the rural India, while the 80% of the doctors, 60% of the hospitals, 70% of the medical facilities are concentrated in urban areas. So we have to bridge this urban-rural divide as well. And we must vaccinate in a mission mode. It doesn't mean that the rural areas or urban areas, everybody has to be vaccinated to get out of this pandemic. So
but
how do we do it?
Can I take an example over there? Can I take an example over there? Look at the classic case of Kerala, or look at any other state which has managed to do really well on vaccination.
Yeah.
They have. and the only way they did that was to engage with
Yes, I'm coming to that.
engage
Sonam.
with workers on the ground, and they
Yeah.
did manage to achieve it.
Yes.
Literacy,
So
of course,
what-
is a huge role to play in that. But quickly, before I take a break, Dr. Dhamija, what is it that's missing at this point in the communication?
Yes. So there's a misinformation, and you rightly said the local leaders as well as the national leaders have a greater say in symbolism also, and plus the digital literacy. We have to have a improvement in digital literacy, smartphone accessibility, and the most important solution, which I believe is the local task force. So we have to have a local task force involving the doctors there, the medical officers, the village head, the community leaders. They have to have come together and then door-to-door campaigning and showing the people that this is harmless and this is the only way out of the pandemic. We can give the example smallpox and polio. We have been able to eradicate only 2 diseases in the world, and both 2 diseases we have been eradicated because of the vaccines only. So vaccine has no substitute. That is the only way to come out of this pandemic, and we have to make this vaccines accessible. The most important thing which I think is
Absolutely.
the one left is that there are 140,000 village sub-centers, health sub-centers, which are not manned by the doctors, but they are manned by the health workers. So why can't we take advantage of the local health worker, which knows everybody in the village by name, by personal
Yeah.
contact? So obviously these are the people who come and go and every day talk to these people and make use of
Sure.
those people to have a vaccine advocacy. So we must remember this word, vaccine advocacy, and we have all to contribute, whether we are doctors. Doctors is not only, their aim is not only to treat the patient,
Yeah.
but to educate the people also. So
Vaccine
that's
advocacy,
very, very
vaccine hesitancy, how do we get into that mode? We'll come back to that on the other side of this very quick break. Welcome back. We're discussing vaccine hesitancy in rural India and why does that really happen. I think perhaps the best way to debunk that is to just take one of these forwards and, the myths that I just pointed out point by point and have the doctors answer them. Let me begin by bringing in Dr. Patil. Dr. Patil, what do you say to those right now who are saying this will lead to fertility issues in men and women?
Yeah, this is absolutely baseless allegation about this vaccine, because there is a various studies has been done in US and UK and Europe till now where they have done a vaccination, and none of the studies showed that there is any effect of a vaccination on this impotency or menstruation disturbances, anything like that. So I think this is the absolute myth and there is no base to it. The only vaccine side effects what we know is immediate side effect and the delayed side effect. The immediate side effects are like, body ache, some fever or something like that. And delayed side effect, sometimes over a period of a month or so, they get the minor anaphylaxis reaction. We call this anaphylactide reaction, something like that. But there is no at all any base in these kind of allegations in the vaccine.
Right. Dr. Dhamija was smiling when I was asking that question, but I want to see your reaction now when I bring in the next question, which was myth number 9 and 10 that we were talking about in our explainer, where there seems to be some sort of this really bizarre conspiracy theory that has been floated that China or US might be behind this and they've done it to sort of alter the human race. I don't even know where to begin on this one. Why don't you answer that, please?
So this is absolutely baseless. These vaccines are based on platforms. The Covaxin is a killed virus, virion, which is injected into the muscle and it doesn't enter to your DNA or cells or anything like that. Similarly, the Covishield vaccine is a viral vector vaccine, which is part of the viral DNA, the genetic material, which is injected into the harmless adenovirus and then injected into our muscles, and that creates the stimulation of the cells to produce antigen as well as antibodies from our body. So there is no way there is a virus, live virus, anything like that, or DNA, or interference with your cell's DNA. So this is absolutely baseless. We need to educate the people about the various platforms, whether it is messenger RNA, whether it is viral vector vaccines like Sputnik or Covishield, or it is a killed virus like the Covaxin. So the vaccines have been, made for now for 50 years, and these platforms have been upgraded, and the latest one platform is, of course, the Covishield is also absolutely a new platform.
I have last 30 seconds. I quickly want to get in a word from Dr. Tiwari at this point. Dr. Tiwari, another bizarre thing I heard this morning from people around me actually was that what is the point of taking a vaccine, because the immunity is only going to last for about 3-4 months, and then again I'll have to keep getting booster doses. There's no end to it, so why take a vaccine altogether?
So basically, vaccine is giving you immunity that lasts longer. It's not just 3 months or 4 months. Antibody titers may still fall, but as soon as another infection happens, then body is trained, or cells are trained in such a way that antibody titer increases significantly to overpower the infection. So it is important that vaccine should be taken. The booster is recommended at definite interval according to scientific data we get. So then only booster is needed,
and
not
only
at
for
every 3
people
months.
who have perhaps comorbidities, or only for people who have for some reason are immune compromised and have not developed enough amount of antibodies as well. So all those details need to be looked into. Really,
Yes.
the bottom line over here is get yourself vaccinated. There is no
Yes,
other way
that's
out
important.
of this situation. So the sooner you do that, the safer the world is going to be for both you and I. That's it on the program today. Thanks for watching.